Welcome to the Believe series, the series where we explore counterintuitive beliefs by professionals about areas and topics in their fields. Today, we're thrilled to have Joy Van Skiver with us, and she will be talking about her beliefs. Now, I have to tell you one funny thing about Joy. Joy and I know each other we're trying to figure it out, but probably going back even maybe 2 decades ago through a close friend. Both of us have a close friend who introduced us. And just recently, we've been in a similar field, so it's delightful to have her on the show. Hi, Joy.
Hello, good to be here.
And one other thing I'd like to let you know about Joy is that Joy Van Skiver is the creator of a coaching language for managers. And she leads workshops in these kinds of things about this coaching language for managers. So hello.
Hello. I'm delighted to be here.
I'm thrilled you're here.
Yeah.
I'm going to start right off with our main question, and then we'll drill down into it.
Mm-hmm.
What is something that you believe that others in your field may not agree with you about?
Well, everybody in my field agrees that most people managers are not very effective coaches. And that's a given. Where we disagree is in the solution to that problem. How do we make them more effective managers? And I believe the solution is simple. We just need to help managers know what to say and how to say it. We need to focus more on the words and the expressions that they use. And that's why I'm a believer in a coaching language, and managers need a coaching language. In my experience, people who get the words right also get the coaching right. And that's so important. I often ask people, what's their definition of the best manager, or think about the best manager they've ever had. And usually what they tell me is something like this: she told me what I needed to hear, not maybe what I wanted to hear, but what I needed to hear. And she did it in a way that was motivating. So that's what we want. If we could get all the managers in the world to motivate people, performance would be soaring. And that's my connection to coaching, is the performance piece. We want to see managers build their teams so that we get better performance.
Let's break all of that down.
All right.
First question: what is the field that you're in?
Well, it has a lot of names. Most of the time I call it talent management. Some people call it leadership development. Sometimes I'm working in a sales area, and then it would be sales management development. I also work with people on reinventing performance reviews. And when I do that, then I'm working in performance management. So it's all under mostly on the HR umbrella that I'm doing business with those people.
And then what is it that others in your field already believe to be true, from which you are deviating? And you've given us a hint. You've said that everybody believes that managers need to be more effective at coaching.
Yeah.
But what is the how that others believe?
Well, and that's where it's kind of strange, because there's a lot out there. Everybody wants to solve this problem. How do we get managers to be more effective? And, I go to conferences, professional conferences like the Conference Board, and I hear statistics like 80% of managers are just not as effective. What do we do now? We've given them so much. So sometimes what it seems like is that my peers think more is better. Let's give managers more theory, more psychology, more formulas to follow, more terminology. And my feeling is that we're making it too complex. It's not, we don't want to turn every manager into a professional coach. I mean, that's a career. We want managers to be able to coach not just in frequent check-ins, but in the moment coaching. 3-minute coaching, 5-minute coaching. And that's very different from being a professional coach. So I think the route to getting them there is different from what you would do to create a professional coach.
So there's something in what you've said that I just absolutely love, which is that we can make it simple instead of layered and more complex.
I love simplicity. I think, there's nothing like it. And that's been my experience. I mean, I've been doing this for quite some time, and everybody who takes the training program that I've put together says what they like about it is it's so simple. It's so easy to use.
we're going to ask you for examples in just a moment. First,
Okay.
I'm going to ask the people who are here with us live on this show, what is a question that you have as a manager about how you can be a better manager? So pop those questions in for us, for Joy, so she can address them in our time together. What is a question you have as a manager about how to be a better manager? And if you're not a manager, pop in a question about what is it that you most want to know about managers, or what is it that you most want to know about running projects? And we will see how the simplicity of Joy's coaching language can address what you're talking about. So give us your tough ones so that we really put Joy on the spot here.
That would be great.
Joy, give us an example. What is a way that a manager, who you're right, hasn't had 10 years of coaching training or an experience being an executive coach, how can a manager, what are some of those simple words you can give a manager so that they can use them in a specific situation?
Yeah, sure. But one of my favorites is next time. Just those two words, next time. If you start a coaching comment with next time, you're automatically focusing on the future, not the past. And that's really, really important. So, I mean, I talk to people all the time who've taken my training or some of the training that my certified trainers have offered. And I just heard a story recently that's related to our virtual environment now. You know, everybody's getting so used to this. People are more comfortable than others. And so we're still learning. So there was a new sales associate who was giving a presentation in front of customers on a Zoom call. And from what I hear, she did a great job. A slideshow was wonderful. Product knowledge was wonderful. She got to the end and said, "Any questions?" And there was silence. Nobody said anything. You've probably had experiences like that. I have, you know. So
Yes.
well, she was new. It was tough for her to handle. Now, the interesting thing is her manager was on the call, but he chose not to rescue her. Let her get through it, which I'm in favor of.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, throw him in the water, let him swim. And so that was good. Now, after the Zoom call, he did a really smart thing. He decided to call her and do a little short, quick coaching. So he started his phone conversation with one of the words that we give people, how. How opens up the dialogue. So the question he had for her was, how do you feel your presentation went? And of course, she offered how well it went, and she got to the silence. When she hit the silence part, talking about that, he had the next time words ready. And he said, next time, have 5 or 6 questions ready to ask, and that will help you generate discussion. And that's the kind of coaching that people need to hear. There are far too many managers who would have picked up the phone and said, what's the matter? Why didn't you have some questions? Or you should have had some questions. Why didn't you? Or you should have. And that's not going to get us very far in getting people to react positively and to improve their performance. So he had there one of my formulas, which is start with next time, give a direction, follow with a benefit.
What was the benefit, he said?
This will help you generate discussion.
Right, right.
So first, next time, have 5 or 6 questions ready to ask, and this will help you generate discussion.
Yeah.
So there's a formula for the manager, and it actually turns out there's a formula for the sales associate in this case. And what we find is that approach works not just for next time, it works for all the time. She's not going to forget that.
I also love how he started it with, as you're saying, another one of your coaching language, the how. That really lets her, rather than being put on the spot about the one thing that didn't go well, it lets her explore every part of her meeting, what did go well and what didn't, actually for her to even voice it as a concern when next time is going to land more openly than if somebody else voices that as the...
Of course. And it's not accusatory. It's not judgmental. It's simply, okay, this is what we're going to do from here on out. And I work with so many managers who take the approach that's negative And I sometimes will ask people, well, what do you say to someone when he didn't do what you thought he should do? And I can't tell you the number of times managers will say, you failed to. Oh, you failed to? Oh, that's not going to work.
It can work for some effect. Like,
people turn off with that. And
exactly.
so look how simple next time is. We don't have to, just gloss over the fact that she wasn't quite prepared for that part of the presentation.
Yeah.
But we're not going to get stuck on it. We're going to move on.
Forward to next time. Well, how many such tools do you have in your coaching language?
Oh, probably, I guess we have put a number on 25. I say 25, 30. You can use them in various ways. I can give you some more examples as we go along.
What's one of the favorite of managers who go through? What's one of the ones that they come back and tell you, hey, I keep using this year after year?
Well, the next time, I think, is the most popular one. It's really easy to remember. Mm-hmm. And there's something about, we even talk about next time coaching, as a philosophy overall, to have, take that attitude of being a next time coacher. But another one that they love is to start with the word to and give a benefit and then a direction. So let's suppose you have somebody who's just not quite measuring up, and you want that person to reach a particular goal. Maybe something like get your projects in on time, to ensure that all your projects are on time. Set aside 5 days that you are whatever, and then you have the direction. And then, just like that next time formula, you follow it with a benefit. I'm a big, big believer in benefits. I've done a lot of work with salespeople in my career, and benefits sell. Yeah. And benefits sell performance. Managers are selling performance. They don't realize it, but that's what it comes down to. And if you can show somebody the benefit of doing something, they want to do it.
What do you mean managers sell performance?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What do you mean managers sell performance?
Oh, well, when in Persuasion, I'm using the word sell, of course, in quotes. They're my quotes.
So if I understand you right, what you're saying is, if you are a good manager, right, then you are encouraging your team member to have amazing performance.
Absolutely.
Which helps your business and your company, but also helps that team member grow. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's what I'm.
That you got it. That's the picture. And managers get very frustrated when people don't do what they tell them to do. And sometimes I say to them, well, how did you express it? How did you say it? Well, I told her to do it. That might not be enough. And that's where the idea of persuasion comes in.
Yeah.
Managers may not realize that they have a job that requires persuasive skills, and they're not persuading upper management to spend megabucks on a project. Mm-hmm. They're persuading somebody sometimes to do something very simple. And I like the practical approach, along with my, philosophy of simplicity. And so, that fits in with that as well. You make it very practical for somebody, tell them what to do, they're likely to do it.
So we're getting questions of what else? What other tips? It's like people are drinking at the fountain of joy. What other things as a manager?
Okay, well, all right. One that, this is another story that I heard just recently. I love it when people come back to me with, this is what I got out of the training, and this is what's happening. And we have situations where we encourage people to do that. So this one also had to do with a virtual meeting. And in this case, the manager who came to me said she wanted me to know that of all the things we talked about in the training, what was most important to her was recognizing in the moment coaching opportunities. And this is so important. I don't know how familiar you are with in-moment coaching. I've talked to a lot of people in human resources who feel like that may be the most important coaching that managers do. When you catch somebody when they're doing something right, you reinforce it. When you catch somebody that it's not working out well, you give them the guidance that they need to move on. So this manager said, that's what really was so important to me. And she said, one of the reasons why she's better at it now and more confident is that she has the words to use. Well, that's music to my ears, you know. She's got the words to use. So here are the words she told me that she used. I'll give you the situation. This was a case where there was a team meeting, virtual team meeting, and one team member did not speak up, didn't offer anything, you know, no experiences or whatnot. And so after the call, the manager picked up the phone and decided one way to start this conversation would be just like we do, I recommend, when you're face to face. And let's say there's a meeting in the building, back when we used to do brick and mortar things, remember that? And you had a meeting and you walked out of the meeting and you could do in the moment coaching as you're walking down the hallway. Well, so just because we're virtual now doesn't mean you can't pick up the phone and do that coaching. So here's what she started with. I noticed. And she said, I noticed in the meeting that you didn't offer some of your experiences. And then she paused. And that's really, really important because she gave the person a chance to say why. Didn't ask, didn't force it. I noticed that you didn't speak up in the meeting. And here's what her team member said. I wasn't sure that my experiences would be helpful. And this is we're talking about a perfect opportunity to coach here. She's expressing that, you know, she's not comfortable for whatever reason, and maybe virtual has something more to do with it, you know, being able to speak up and whatnot. But so the coach then was able to give her some support. In fact, I think the way she said, she described it was, while you may be hesitant to speak up, remember that you're there to support the team and contribute what you know. And she used the next time. Next time, offer one experience, and I'll bet that people will come back and ask for more. So there's a combination of I noticed and next time, you know. So these are just little snippets. I like to tell people, you know, I have all these words in a basket, and I'm just going to throw a word out and give you a formula, and you take it and you go from there.
And it's kind of like you improvise, you jazz improvise, or you dance improvise.
Yeah.
As you have
once you know the words,
yeah,
you've got that.
Let me tell you a few things that people are saying.
Okay.
Kelly is saying this sounds like just-in-time teaching, which is a most effective tool.
It is, yes, right, it is.
And Anne-Marie is saying this sounds like this could work for parents speaking to their children as well. Hey, I caught you. I noticed.
I've heard this so many times when I'm doing the training. People say, I'm going to try this with my kids, or I talk to them afterward and they say, I used that next time on my kid, and it, you know. So yeah, I had one client who was so enthralled with it that she said, this coaching language is life-altering.
Yes.
So it works with your team members, it works with peers, it works with senior managers, it works with family.
That's phenomenal.
Right.
I am going to ask you in a moment how you came to this, just how you realized that this is the next step of helping managers. And as I do that, I'm also going to post a question to the audience, which is, what are your takeaways so far? We like to do as we close up, what are you taking away? And I'll just to pop up some questions. So Joy talked about how, starting with how. She gave us the example of next time. 2, here's a benefit. And I noticed that this happened. It could be those, it could be something else. Let us know what your takeaways are so far.
Wonderful.
Joy, here's my question to you. My question is, I will just add a quick comment right now. Somebody, Sean is saying he loves that this is gentle as well as effective.
Good word, love it.
My question to you, how did you come to this? How did you come to the idea? Let's give, like you said, out of a basket, pull a word out of a basket. It's almost like a party game. How did you come to the idea that let's do this simple way and it's actually going to help managers in a big way?
Yeah. Well, I had a wonderful opportunity about a decade ago where I listened in on 150 coaching conversations. Well, I didn't literally listen. We didn't have any hidden microphones, but I was working with somebody in the sales area, sales VP, and I analyzed 150 sales coaching reports. That's what they're called. And what we wanted to find out was, what are the managers telling their reps? What kind of advice and coaching are they offering? So when I did that, the results were kind of interesting or kind of disturbing, depending on how you look at it. Only 23% of those reports were what we would consider strong or meaningful coaching. 26% had some coaching. 51% had no coaching at all. They just offered observations and they didn't provide any direction or any perspective. It was just missing. So here's what I did to take that to the next level. I studied the reports written by the strong coaches. And I tried to figure out, so what are they doing? How are they saying this? What are they saying? And that's when I created this coaching language, because I knew to get everybody on board, we were going to have to make this easy. This could not be complicated. And, you know, I've heard a lot about role playing that people do in leadership development courses. And, you know, somebody can listen to a great manager role play and say, yeah, that sounds great, but how do I do it? And it's that transfer that we want. So I came up with a lot of word prompts. That's what they are. And I call them thought formulas, like the next time and the direction and the benefit, and put them together. We did the training for this particular group. They loved it. They ate it up. They thought this was the greatest thing ever. And I gave them a little job aid to go along with it. And oh, that was wonderful, because then they could remember all of these things. But most important is the impact. We did a post-training assessment. And in this case, almost 80% of the managers were strong coaches. We went from 23 to 80. Is that phenomenal?
You flipped it. You completely flipped it from 23 to 80.
Yeah. It's that old 20-80 relationship. Well, you know, we can change it and put
wow.
And so we got positive feedback. We saw the data. There was positive feedback in the sales end as well. Sales improved. This was a winner. And that's when I decided I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing this. This is
coaching language for managers. Coaching language for managers. You know what I'm struck by, and I don't know if this is an appropriate analogy. I'm struck by the idea, like as we used to do as kids, those Mad Libs. That here's the joy part 2, and then fill in whatever that is to benefit.
Right. I'm going to try that.
This is wonderful. Well, I'm going to give you a few takeaways. Here's a quick reply to the 2080. Saying, wow, I agree with that. I think you may have seen my face doing it during that. I'm going to give you a couple of comments of things that people are taking away in terms of things that they can use. And then I will open it up to you for a closing comment. But let's get some of the comments.
Right.
The person is saying, Alexandra is saying, I really love this simplistic coaching strategy. It's brilliant. Alexandra, I have to agree, especially when it's, and I'll just put these up in response to your comment, especially when it's things like how. It's a word we know. We know this word. How, especially to open up. It's not just the word, Joy, though. It's also when to use the word. You're saying use this at the beginning. If you use how after you've berated a person, it's not going to be that effective.
No. It's a good throw.
Alexandra, in response to your comment about this language, how, we also had next time, the first one that you started with, and one that so many managers say they take away as a big learning. To get a benefit. And I noticed this and this, again, opening up the discussion as some of the examples that Joy gave. And let's take one more comment of, we've got a couple of comments. One more comment of taking away. Kelly says, I am taking away the use of simple and effective phrases. Yeah, Kelly, me too. Me too.
I'm so happy.
And Anne Marie is saying, I love what you said regarding how I notice allows them to respond first. This might result in the manager learning something that influences the next simple phrase they use to move their team forward.
Mm-hmm. You're so right. Yes.
Joy, thank you so much. What is a closing thought that you have for all of us who have been listening and thinking about using a coaching language for managers?
Well, I would say, aside from learning the language itself, which is pretty simple to do, you could start on your own by just being aware of what you're saying and how you're saying it. So anyone who's a manager listening in, I'd recommend after you have a coaching conversation, stop and reflect 3 or 4 minutes and what did I say? How did I say it? And was it effective? Could it have been better? Because, sometimes we have our own common sense that we can pull out and say, gee, I wish I had opened that up a little bit more, whatever. So I'd say, listen to yourself, and maybe even with your children and your partners as well. That would be a good idea. And don't forget the next time formula. Walk away, try this sometime soon. Start with next time, give a direction, follow with a benefit.
I'm noticing, Joy, you saying next time, try next time. For everybody here listening, next time, try the next time.
Yeah, everybody should go do this week.
Try it today. You listen to this today, you watch it today. Thank you so much. I feel like my head is very rich with ideas and almost words to try. Joy, where can people learn more about you and about your coaching language?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn. That's one possibility. The company name that I have is the Powerformance Group. So www.performance.com is going to give you information. So it's Powerformance, and that's
great.
Where
Let's put this.
Oh, look at that. Okay.
Performance.com is Joy's website, so you can find information there.
Yep.
And on your LinkedIn, you're inviting people to connect.
I'm on LinkedIn all the time, and I offer tips on LinkedIn. So check me out and see what some of the coaching tips are.
Thank you so much, Joy. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye now.
Thanks, everyone, for being with us. It's been delightful to be with you. Join us again every Monday to Friday. We are here at 11 a.m. Pacific. All the best and see you soon.
Bye.